Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Growfolds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at the Lowe's in Allen, Texas. As always, please make sure you're hitting that like button for this video, as well as following me on Instagram at Growfolds. Also, subscribe to my channel with the notification bell on if you enjoy 1 hour plant shopping videos daily, in addition to a live premiere chat. So our plant foldies, and for those that are new to this channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. I will be doing an early evening plant shopping video just to see if this particular Lowe's has any new plants in stock. It is early summer in North Texas, which is where I'm based at. So we're gonna just see what kind of plants they have available. As you can see here, most of the Lowe's has all of these Croton petras. We've got a bunch of mandevilla flowers. We've got some hibiscus flowers here, and you can see right here, these are beautiful Croton petras, and I really like the fact that a lot of the top leaves are yellow. And in with crotons, they are a more challenging plant to grow indoors. They prefer a lot of light, so if you grow them outdoors in full sun, actually they will do very well. When you bring these crotons indoors though, they don't do as well because they don't get the amount of light that they need. So if you're going to grow that particular plant, you're going to need to provide it a lot of light. But as you can see here, these are one of my this particular Lowe's is actually a Lowe's I like to shop at, just because there are plenty of plants. They typically have a nice organization of plants. I have been able to find some rare and uncommon plants at this Lowe's. So we're just going to see what kind of plants that they have at this location. You can see that they typically have this little setup at the beginning of any Lowe's location. We've got a bunch of bromeliads right over here. I love bromeliads. I've grown to like them a lot just because they have so many varieties. You can see right here, look at how beautiful the leaves are. It looks like, you know, somebody just spray painted those colors. You know, bromeliads to me are very fascinating plants. I didn't really know that they had such a variety of plants. And if you go to Lowe's, you will find a lot of those. And then you can also see here, they've got these better grow orchids in bamboo containers. These are Phalaenopsis orchids right over here. I do like the fact that this particular plant supplier is starting to be more green conscious in terms of not using plastic to you know, house the plants. I really like that a lot. When you think about all of the big box store plant shopping videos I've done, you'll see that there are so many plants that are in plastic containers. I just feel like a lot of these plants may end up just going into the trash, so that carbon footprint in general might be a lot. So I just feel like, you know, more nurseries, plant suppliers should go a little bit more on the greener side. So it's always nice to see more biodegradable planters. But, you know, I digress and talk about the plants right now. You can see here, we've got a bunch of orchids. Really like the look of this particular orchid as well. You know, Phalaenopsis orchids, I have grown to like them over the amount of time I've spent just doing plant shopping videos. You know, I am pretty much in every big box store or some type of local plant nursery every day, just so I can film content. And you can see here, we've got a bunch of Majesty palms here by Costa Farms. Now, these are for $22.98. Now, with Majesty palms, they get fairly large and they require quite a bit of light. So for me, I wouldn't be able to really grow a Majesty palm in my specific space in my home. They might do well outdoors in a like shaded area that gets a lot of bright indirect light in the morning. And then you can see here, so Live Trends, I am a huge fan of Live Trends in the fact that they have very stylish looking planters. They have really upped their game in terms of having all of these very stylish, modern, contemporary looking planters. These are self-watering planters right here. You can see this is an Epipremnum pinnatum Cebu Blue, and I always love seeing Epipremnum pinnatum Cebu Blue just because my family is originally from the Philippines, and Epipremnum pinnatum varieties are very endemic to the Philippines. You can find them all over, just growing in the wild. And that's the thing, I am super excited that next week I will be taking a trip to the Philippines for about 18 days. I haven't been back in more than 10 years, so I will definitely have a lot of plant footage that I will film. That content will actually be released when I come back from the Philippines. So, you know, starting next week on Thursday, I will be running a bunch of plant shopping marathons and compilations. So for my loyal plant foldies, I hope that you will still engage and watch my videos. I've noticed that there was just a slight decline in the viewership, and I don't know if it's necessarily because people have gotten busy or maybe I need to go give more new content. So please let me know, plant foldies, what I can do to make sure that I keep you guys engaged. I am always open to feedback. But you can see over here, I'm still looking at a bunch of these live transplanters. Really like the look of this one as well. I think that it just has such a nice modern feel to a lot of the planters that Live Trends does, as well as Urban Jungle. Oftentimes we go to a big box store and typically we'll see a lot of like Costa Farms plants, but it's always nice to see Urban Jungle plants as well as Live Trend plants. You can see right here, Live Trends has a bunch of those hydroponic situations where they're literally growing those dracaenas in just straight water. And for those that have followed my videos, you already know that I grow a lot of my hard to take care of plants in hydroponics. For instance, calatheas. Ever since I put a calathea in just straight water and grew it there, I haven't had to worry about watering it because obviously it's already in water. And then just the fact that it's in water, and it also has that ambient humidity. But you can see here, I'm gonna walk through the outdoor section portion of this Lowe's first, but we're gonna just pan over here and you can just see some of my indoor selections as well. I do love the look of that particular plant. All of these plants right here, you can see that this particular Lowe's location has all of their plants merchandised. They're full and impactful. You can see that they have a bunch of these Phalaenopsis orchids right here. We've got a bunch of bromeliads, and for the most part, I would say Lowe's does an amazing job keeping up with their plant styling, their plant merchandising, and just keeping things nice and organized and full. And you can even see right over here, I'm just gonna look at some of these plants. They've got a bunch of hanging baskets, and I always enjoy looking at the Live Trends plants. They typically have an end cap full of that. And then I'm gonna walk over here. So we're just gonna see things out, outside first. I know a lot of you guys might be into the more indoor tropical plants, but I also enjoy outdoor gardening, outdoor landscaping, just outdoor plants in general. So I will be featuring some of these as well. So you can see right off the bat, whenever you go plant shopping at night, there's not a lot of traffic. And so it's easier to just kind of walk around and look at plants. For me, whenever I do these plant shopping videos, whether it's early in the morning or late at night like this, it's very therapeutic. So plant foldies, I'm just curious, do you find just like plant shopping therapeutic? I really love the look of the plants as well. I mean, look at this right there. We've got some coleus plants, and it's really nice to just be by myself, just filming these plants and really admiring their foliage and what they look like. See right over here, they've got a bunch of assorted succulents and cactus. This is a type of plant that I really need to get myself educated. So for plant foldies watching this, you already know I'm not really as versed about succulents. So typically I'll just say assorted succulents in the subtitles. Most succulents that I know would be more of the crassula or jade succulents. I do find these like spray painted cactus not really a thing for me. Like I'm not really a fan of those jarring colors. I like more of a natural look for the plants. Same thing with all of those like plastic things that they've attached onto the succulents on the bottom left hand corner. But you can see here, Lowe's and most big box stores in general will carry a lot of assorted succulents. I would say buying succulents at a big box store is a little bit more cost effective. You can see right here, this one right here is really nice as well. This is a nice looking aloe vera. This is an aloe Christmas sleigh. It looks super cool. It looks almost like starfish right here. I really love the red borders around this particular aloe plant. And I didn't even really realize that there's so many different varieties of aloe vera plants. When you think of aloe vera plants, you just think of that normal green one that you'll see, but there's so many interesting varieties. Same thing with this one right over here. This one is a variegated agave plant. Agave in general just have so many different varieties as well. This is from the Altman Reserve series. Now, I love Altman plants. Altman plants are basically the plants that are sourced at the majority of big box stores. I would say Walmart typically has them, and Lowe's and Home Depot as well. It's interesting because if you get lucky, especially at Walmart, Sometimes you'll run into the Altman plant vendor that is doing clearancing on the plants, which reminds me, on Tuesdays, I have a routine of checking specific Walmarts to see if they, mark down the price. So that's another tip I would tell anybody that is into plant shopping. If you are able to check randomly, or even more so on schedule, to see when particular big box stores will clearance out their plants, I would definitely recommend it, just because I have gotten super lucky about going to a specific big box store and seeing a plant vendor marking down their plant pricing. So for instance, like philodendron pink princess, I've been able to find that instead of it paying $24.47, I've been able to find them for like $5. So again, plant foldies, especially for those that live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, if you haven't already, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel. I am doing my very best to do 1-hour plant shopping videos, so you will get all of the live updates of what plants are available specifically in North Dallas, or what plants look like in terms of plant pricing. But you can see this Lowe's at night, plant foldies, it's just very relaxing. And look at how interesting that aloe vera plant is on the right, and in all of this. So this is a cactus that I am familiar with. This is a golden barrel cactus. Look at how spiky that particular cactus is. It's quite interesting. It's very dangerous too when you think about how prickly it is. And then as I pan around over here, you've got some different types of succulent arrangements. We've got some in cages, we've got some in a rabbit planter, and then we've got some hanging baskets of succulents here. So I've recently been able to find some really interesting hanging baskets of succulents right here. This is a Peperomia Ruby Cascade, for instance. I really like the look of the leaves. You can see that they are just a nice coin shape, just a nice round color, or round shaped leaf for that. And then we've got some type of string of something. I'm not as versed with all of the strings of pearls and all of that kind of stuff, but you can see here, this is Oasis plants right here. They also have a bunch of little succulent arrangements. I find the succulent arrangements really cool. I wouldn't necessarily put them in my plant collection. I recently added 2 succulents. They were 2 different Aeoniums. They were like the pink variegated varieties. I ended up buying that at North Haven Gardens, which is another local plant nursery in the Dallas area. So if you haven't already, please check out that video. It is amazing. And then you can see right over here, if you ever want to get fertilizer and plant supplies, big box stores are another place I would recommend. Miracle Grow is actually a really good all-purpose type of fertilizer. I would recommend it. I've used it. Some people aren't into it, but I mean, for me, I just use a general all-purpose Miracle Grow fertilizer, as well as Osmocote. Osmocote is another slow-releasing type of fertilizer. And that's the thing about growing plants. Like, obviously you want to make sure that you're watering them consistently, but in order for them to really maximize their size, you want to give them plant nutrients. So like, even being on schedule for fertilizing your plant would be one of those things that I would recommend. Now, I would say over fertilizing will definitely damage the plant. Sometimes doing less fertilization will go a long way. But that's just my, my experience with my plant growing. I know that all-purpose Miracle Grow fertilizer really works for me. And over here, you can see this is an Aglaonema White Rain. This one is for $29.98 in a 10-inch planter. Love Aglaonemas. I love the white stem Aglaonema specifically. And Lowe's typically carries a lot of those Aglaonemas. If you don't already have an Aglaonema, I would highly recommend it, just because Aglaonemas are low light tolerant. They don't have to be watered as often, and it's easy to just grow. Now, the only drawback about Aglaonema is they can get legs. I would say Aglaonema are a little bit slower in their growth. So if you like plants that are a little bit more vigorous like me, then Aglaonema may not give you that satisfaction of like new growth. Otherwise, it is an easy plant. It's one plant I would highly recommend for anybody that wants an easy to care for plant. Now, I'm taking a look at this Creeping Jenny hanging basket. I think this is beautiful as well. Creeping Jenny, look at that. It's just got a beautiful neon color. And these ones I believe are for $19.98 in a hanging basket. basket. Now, as far as creeping Jenny, I'm not 100% sure if this is a plant that's really meant to be grown as like an outdoor patio type plant, or if this is a plant that can grow sustainably indoors. Let me know in the comments, plant foldies, what you think. If you grow creeping Jenny, I think it's a beautiful plant. I want to be able to grow more hanging basket plants in my plant collection. The only problem is I typically don't want to like drill a bunch of holes in my space. I've recently got a lot of my plants together, and it's with me going to a vacation, I just feel like I'm a little bit overwhelmed when it comes to just how I want to style my plants. Hence the reason why I haven't done a full plant shopping, well, actually not plant shopping, but a plant home tour. But don't worry, plant foldies, I will have that available for you guys very, very soon. And you can see we've got a bunch of clearance planters right here. I'm just going to spin around and see what other plants that they have here. I do love the fact that, night shopping, plant shopping at a big box store is so relaxing when it is at night, because I'm just going to pan over here and just kind of walk around and show you what else I can find at this location. It is also nice to go plant shopping at night because it's not as hot. North Dallas, we're getting temperatures as close to almost 100 degrees, and it is just very brutal when you're out and about. You can see here, we've got some beautiful hibiscus right here. I love that orange flowering bloom right here of hibiscus. Hibiscus remind me of the Philippines as well, because they have so many hibiscus flowers. Those plants just grow so well in a tropical climate. And then as you can see over here, they've got some more shelves full of plants. I believe these are some mandevilla flowers. And yes, we have some mandevilla flowers right over here. And then we've got a bunch of like mixed containers by Proven Winner. So we've got a bunch of coleus plants next to a canna lily. I really like the look of that as well. Coleus plants, they are one of my favorite plants. They are my current plant obsession because they're easy to care for, and literally you can just cut this top part off, stick it in soil, and you'll have a new plant within a week. They root that quickly. The only drawback about a coleus plant is that they require a lot of water. I find myself having to water my coleus plants at least twice a day now, once in the morning and then once in the late afternoon, because if I don't water them in the morning, by the time I get off from work, they're almost on the brink of death, and it's just kind of scary because they get very they just start to really droop, and if you allow them to droop too much, they start to crisp up, and that's when you run into some problems. But overall, I would recommend coleus plants for people, as well as a cordyline kiwi. Like, this is a beautiful plant. The only thing about cordyline plants is, again, they do better grown outdoors. I would even say that about alocasia. So if you're an alocasia plant parent and somebody that really likes alocasia, I found that growing alocasia outdoors makes it easier. And I've talked about this in some of my previous videos, but if you have a plant that literally is struggling, I have found that if I just chop it down to the base, stick it outside in a shaded patio that gets, a lot of bright morning sunlight, and grow it outdoors, you can rehab a plant that way. They just put on so much growth. And it's the same thing with your philodendron or any other plants that you really want to size up. If you grow them outdoors during the late spring and summertime, they will put on so much growth as compared to just growing the plants indoors. I think it's because they have the ambient humidity, as well as just natural predators that keep the plant pests away, and then you're able to water them at least on a more frequent basis. For me, I struggle with the watering portion of plant care. Like, I am just so busy with my work that sometimes I let some plants just get a little bit too underwatered, meaning I don't water them for like 2 to 3 weeks when they should be watered every week. So that's my problem. But when you're growing them outdoors, it's easy to just take a hose and just hose everything down. And then over here, you can see that these are all of these oasis succulent cactus plants. This one is a opuntia. I do like the look of opuntia plants. I think they're really pretty. And then we've got some type of euphorbia right over here. Gotta love some euphorbias. This one is a really interesting looking one. It looks like pencil sticks. I really like the look of this one as well. And then for the most part, this is only for $39.98. That is actually a really good price. Now with succulents, not all succulents are vigorous growers. I still have to really know which one. So I don't really want to comment on which ones are fast growers because I haven't really taken care of them. Now I do love crassula. plants or jade plants. So this one right here is a jade ogre ears one. Really like the look at that. This one is also for $39.98, so about $40, but you get a large succulent plant. Now, as far as succulents, growing them in the landscape in my grow zone, North Dallas is 8B, I wouldn't be able to grow them long term because I think that the freeze would just really take them out. I would love to be able to grow more succulents, but I think even the climate for my area, it doesn't really give them a sustainable environment. Like you can see over here, we've got an echeveria. It's a really nice looking plant, but I have noticed that I thought actually that succulents can grow in full sun and in heat, and that is not necessarily the case. So I'm actually growing the aeoniums that I bought, these beautiful pink aeoniums, in a west facing window, so it gets a lot of intense afternoon light, and that's about it. But they're still doing very well. They get a lot of light for sure. And then as you can see here, I'm just going to keep walking around and showing you all of these outdoor plants here. I mean, there is not really a single soul out here, which is really cool because it makes it fun for me to just be able to film plant footage right here. I mean, you can see here we've got another type of coleus plant. Look at how beautiful that red orange look is on this particular plant. If you haven't started growing a coleus plant, there are so many coleus plants that are available at local plant nurseries and as well as big box stores. And the same thing with caladiums. Like, look at the beautiful coloration of caladiums. Some people are not into caladiums. I definitely am into caladiums because I like the colorful look of these leaves. You know, I am all about that color. I am all about, you know, solid green plants. I just love plants in general, but caladiums, plant folies, let me know what you think. Do you grow caladiums? Have you grown caladiums indoors? Is it something that you would be interested in? Now with caladium plants, they do need shaded areas. They will burn if they get too much sun. So that's the only drawback with plants. I always say if a plant can tolerate full sun, that makes them easy if you're growing them outdoors. Now, if you want to grow a plant that can tolerate lower light conditions, it's definitely easier to find a low light tolerant plant. Like low light tolerant, easy to care for plants I would recommend would be like Sansevieria, snake plants, Aglaonema, Dracaena. So plant folies, just do a search and check out those plants. I am here to just recommend plants. Now, not all plants for everybody, not all growing substrates are for everybody. You know, I talked about growing plants in just straight water. That may not necessarily be your thing. Some people have grown plants in leca. I have a couple of plants that I am growing in leca, but for the most part, I just like plants and just growing them in different mediums. So I am curious, plant folies, like what plants do you really like growing? I'd like to see that in the comments, as well as just, you know, what plants give you a lot of trouble. It is nice to be able to engage with you guys during a plant shopping video, but also to be able to respond to your comments. But you can see we've got some begonias here. We've got a bunch of Epipremnum aureum, golden pothos. Now this one is for $19.98, and I always recommend this pothos plant because it's beautiful, it's easy to grow, you can propagate it so you can get more free plants, and they are forgiving if you underwater them, more so than maybe a syngonium plant. And then you can see over here, I wish I could grow a purple, a purple plant like this potato vine, but these potato vines need to grow outdoors. They like full sun, they like the heat. They are fast growers and they're easy to propagate from water propagation. It's just that if you take them indoors, they are highly susceptible to spider mites. And, you know, a lot of times a plant will get a plant pest because it doesn't have the most optimal growing conditions. They're more susceptible to pests. I think it's because they might release some type of pheromone that, lets pests know that their health is not necessarily at the best. And so that's why plant folies, I would say, be cautious about the plants that you take back inside. Like I want to go grow this Alternanthera, for instance, indoors. Right now it's currently growing outdoors. I have it in a container because I do just like that neon green foliage about it. I am growing it in full sun, but it would be something that I would like to experiment and grow indoors. That's something that I've been looking at, because typically whenever you think about like an indoor plant, you think about an indoor tropical plant, but there are so many different varieties of plants that you can potentially grow indoors, and that would be one of them. And also these coleus plants. Like most people will think that a coleus plant, and this one is for $4.98, would think that coleus plants are plants that you would just grow in an outdoor container or maybe a flower bed. But so many people actually grow coleus plants indoors. They're super easy to take care of, very easy to propagate. Literally, it's probably the easiest plant I have ever run into to propagate. It doesn't necessarily need to have a node in order for you to take a cutting and stick it in soil or water. I thought about just doing water propagations, but then I realized, why put it in water propagation and have a step, one more step, when you can just put them straight into soil. So that's what I've been doing, and I have literally multiplied my coleus plant collection. Like, I have this particular coleus right here. The leaves have gotten larger, and I got it for $4.98 again. I mean, look at how beautiful the colors are on this particular coleus plant. And what I like is coleus plants, again, you can overwinter them or take them into, indoors or for the winter and store a bunch of cuttings. You can mostly, you can take a bunch of cuttings, take most of the leaves off, they will root, and then just kind of be semi-dormant for the winter. And then when you're ready to bring them out during the spring, when growing conditions are more optimal, you can plant them in the, in a pot or even in soil, and you'll have a bunch of coleus plants. So you won't have to buy them year after year. At least that's what I intend to do with my coleus collection. But anyways, plant folies, I am going to walk back inside and just take a look at some more of these plants right over here. You can see that Lowe's, especially this Lowe's, has a really good way about merchandising their plants. One thing that I did want to point out here is that they always have Vanda orchids. Like, look at how beautiful this Vanda orchid is. And now with Vanda orchids specifically, they like to be in more like a hanging basket or hanging crate, because they like their roots to be more exposed in just full air. They are epiphytes, meaning that they just kind of attach themselves to like trees in the wild. And I love Vanda orchids. Whenever I think about a Vanda orchid, I think about a beautiful Vanda orchid called a waling, which is a beautiful rare orchid out in the Philippines. It is kind of sad that that particular orchid, which is just so beautiful and majestic, is a plant that is endangered. And you think about all of the plants that you see, these tropical plants that we see at big box stores, it has to come from a source. And unfortunately, there are some plant sellers out here that have poached plants from the wild. So it's not like a sustainable source. And I would always just, recommend caution. Like, as much as we love plants, just think about where that plant might specifically be sourced. There's just a lot of plant poaching that happens, and that's the reason why certain plants become endangered and even become extinct, because of just the over cultivating a plant and poaching them from the wild. And you can see over here though, Pachira aquatica, this is a plant that will not go extinct. I mean, there's just so many Pachira aquatica or money tree plants. This is another plant that is quite common to find at any big box store or local grocery store. I have done a lot of plant shopping at local grocery stores, and I would say even at local grocery stores, you'll save a lot of money over there. I'm all about plant, saving money, having a plant budget, and really looking at your finances when it comes to plants. I know that I've been over budget. I have to really scale it back since I am taking a very lavish vacation to the Philippines. And if you are on my Instagram account, which is at Growfold, you'll be able to see many updates of my adventures in the Philippines on my Instagram story. So if you haven't already, please make sure you are following me on Instagram. I would love to interact with you, engage with you, send me a direct message. I respond to pretty much everybody. And then over here for $22.98 is another urban jungle container of Epipremnum aureum pearls and jade. Now, Epipremnum aureum pearls and jade is a plant that is sometimes mistaken for the enjoy pothos. And then over here, we've got a philodendron heteroraceum Brazil. What a beautiful plant. And then over here, we've got a philodendron heteroraceum, just the green form right over here. What a beautiful looking plant. I really enjoy the look of this particular plant here. And then this is another plant that, for the most part, I would say is an easy to care for plant. Now, if you give it more bright indirect light, it will be more of a vigorous grower. Now, but when you compare it to a pothos plant, philodendron heteroraceum are a little bit slower growing as compared to that, at least in my experience. But as you can see over here as I pan away, there's so many different varieties of plants you can buy at a Lowe's plant. Like, we've got a bunch of hanging baskets here. This is for $22.98. What a beautiful green maranta. So I recently snagged a nice maranta silver band, and that was more of an uncommon plant, you know, maybe a year or two ago. I've noticed that there are more and more silver band maranthas popping up at like big box stores, so that's super cool. And then also the green marantha, I love the look of it. And the cool thing about marantha plants is they are similar to calatheas, but they're not as finicky or fussy as like a calathea, if that makes any sense. Their level of care still is the same requirement, but I believe that even this like particular marantha right here is a little bit more forgiving. Same thing with the Nanthe plants. Like I recently got a Never Thinanthe plant, that green on green variegation, and I got it on clearance at Lowe's, and it is doing absolutely well for me. And then this is a beautiful philodendron plant find right here. I'm not sure what particularly this philodendron is, so plant foldies, leave it in the comments if you know, but look at how large the leaves are on this particular philodendron. That is another stunner here. I am a fan. Unfortunately, the new leaf unfurled with a little bit of leaf damage. That happens, but this one right here is for $22.98 again by Urban Jungle. So Urban Jungle has some amazing plants, amazing planters. If I had to choose a really stylish plant source though, I would say Live Trends by far takes the crown. But you know, Costa Farms is amazing, so is Urban Jungle, so is Grower's Bench, so is Mason Farms. Those are all plant nurseries that provide a lot of these big box store plants. Now this one right over here is a Dracaena Dorado in a planter as well. I do like the look of Dracaena Dorado. It is a larger size Dracaena, or it has the potential to become very large. I like more of the compact Dracaenas, but again, Dracaenas are another plant that is super underrated when it comes to people wanting to buy plants and growing them in their plant collections. You can even see over here, we've got all of these aerial roots from this Vanda orchid. I love the look of that as well. You know, Vanda orchids, I grew one before. It didn't do well for me because they do need some humidity, higher humidity, and a little bit more light. Highlight, actually. They need bright light in order for them to really do well. They get a lot of their water just from the air. Now, if you're gonna go water a Vanda orchid, all you have to do is stick the aerial roots in a bucket of water, soak it for a few minutes, and pull it out, and that is it. You'll know that it's fully soaked because the actual aerial roots will become more of a greenish tone versus silver. And then you'll know when a Vanda orchid or any orchid is needing to get watered, because the roots are going to be a little bit more of a grayish color versus green. And then over here, golden pothos, super easy to care for plant, low light tolerant. Water when it's about 50% dry, and you should be good to go. They can tolerate being a little bit more overwatered as well, but for the most part, I would have caution in terms of not overwatering your pothos plant unless you are growing that plant strictly in water, because there's a difference between soil roots and water roots. So whenever you're transitioning, for instance, a plant that was growing in soil into just straight water, there is a little bit of that the root that rots off, and you have to just wait for the roots to convert back into water roots. Over here is a Sansevieria plant, or a snake plant. These are snake plants I like to grow, actually. This is for $12.98. I do like the container it's in as well. And these type of Sansevieria, the ones that are a little bit thicker and rounder, I prefer. Like, I like the Fernwood Sansevieria, the Starfish Sansevieria versus the Sansevieria trifasciatas, which are typically the snake plants you'll see. I just feel like they are more forgiving and just easier to grow. And then over here for $13.98, you've got a bunch of flowering anthuriums. They are super common. And then we have a bunch of little tiny plant collection here. This one is a Peperomia Golden Gate. So I am so thankful that Costa Farms actually featured my Instagram reel for Costa Farms Tiny Plants collection. If you haven't gotten a chance to check it out. Check out Costa Farms Instagram. My reel is there, and I just love the fact that they gave me some recognition on that. I'm really trying to grow my social media platforms, especially on YouTube. It has become a daily plant shopping routine for me. And I hope that you guys continue to follow me on my journey. I can't thank all of the plant foldies enough, especially the regulars that always tune into the live premiere chats. I did feel really bad that I didn't have a live premiere last night. I meant to premiere this video last night, but with work being so busy, and then I just really wanted to take some time for myself. Like, I wanted to have a nice dinner. I ended up going with somebody very special to me to eat Vietnamese food. I love Vietnamese food. So for anybody that's from Vietnam or is Vietnamese, y'all's food is amazing. But it was a really nice, relaxing night for me. So I am recharged and I am able to get this video edited and uploaded today for a nice plant party. So hopefully you guys are participating. But that's the thing about doing plant YouTube and plant shopping videos. There are seasons where I believe there's a little bit more engagement. Hopefully I can retain your all's engagement by showing you all of these beautiful plants. I rely on the consistency of my plant shopping videos. I think that people have given me that feedback. They really do look forward to like all of my plant shopping videos and being able to chat with other plant foldies. And I love that. Now this is really expensive, $18.98 for pretty much a water propagation. I wouldn't pay that, but this is an example of a Dracaena Janet Craig compacta in hydroponics, so just straight water. So plant foldies, let me know in the comments if you do grow plants in just straight hydroponics. What are your thoughts? I do like the vessel that this is in. I think it is very stylish and beautiful. I just don't know if I would actually invest, spending $18.98 when I can buy this for like $13.98, wash out the soil and stick it in like a vessel of my my choice. I am planning on making sure I water all my plants, really taking care of my plants this weekend, really getting that all settled. Whenever you go on a vacation, I'm just curious, plant foldies, do you have somebody come at your house to take care of your plants, or do you just kind of water them and hope that they won't die? I'd love to know in the comments, and I'd also love to know in the comments what you think about this Epipremnum aureum Marble Queen Pothos. Beautiful Pothos. I love Pothos plants. There's certain plant foldies like Steven at I Lift Plants who collect Pothos plants. There was one plant, I might actually get it today at Callaway's. It's called a Neon Queen Pothos, where it's like a variegated neon pothos. That's really cool. And then over here, we've got some more live trends plants. This one is a Dracaena. Look at how beautiful that is. Like, why would people not grow a Dracaena plant like this? Some people would just say that it's a common plant, but it's an easy to care for plant. And it is a plant that I would highly recommend. I just think it's so cool. I think it's beautiful, as well as this right here. This is for $22.98 by Urban Jungle. I just wish that this particular planter was more of a solid color and like even just a solid terracotta planter. I love this. This is one of my favorite philodendrons. I don't have it currently in my collection. This is a philodendron lemon lime. Look at how beautiful that is. I love neon plants just as much as I love pink plants, and I love dark foliage plants. So those are really my three go-to type plant colors. What a beautiful looking plant it is. I mean, look at this. Now with philodendrons that are more neon color or more neon colored type plants, they do require a lot more bright light in order to really be more of that neon color or even be yellow. So just make sure you are providing that bright indirect lighting conditions. This particular philodendron though does need to have a pole or some type of stake for it because its growth habit wants to grow up a pole. So we're gonna pan away and just see what other plants that they have available here. That's the thing about this Lowe's location. They typically keep their plants super full. I enjoy it. I just enjoy looking at all the different plants that they have available. And we're going to just take a look at some of these. So we've got some more hanging baskets of live trends. And I love these ceramic planters. Like this one I can work with. And look, there's a little bit of some sport variegation on this Epipremnum aureum neon pothos. Look at how beautiful that is. And I love that stylish looking hanging basket. It does have like more of a leather string to hold it up. I'm almost tempted to buy these hanging baskets just because they look so cute. I mean, plant folies, let me know in the comments what you think. I mean, look at this one right over here. This is another beautiful plant. Love it. And I love the orange tone. I love the variegation. Now this one is an Epipremnum aureum pearls and jade pothos. It almost looks like an Enjoy pothos, but the difference is this one has more of a lighter green tone to it. And Enjoy really has a very distinct contrast of green and white variegation. There isn't really like a cream or speckling around it. Now that particular pothos plant does grow a little bit less vigorous as compared to the neon pothos, and I would say this pothos is just a Epipremnum aureum jade pothos, or the green variety, the original green pothos. Beautiful plant again, and look at how stylish that planter is. There's just a certain level of elegance that Live Trends does. I love stylish planters. I try to maintain the same look for all of my planters. So typically I have cream planters, white planters, and pink planters. I don't really have a lot of textures. I'm call me more of a minimalist, but I really like the look of that. But what beautiful plants Urban Jungle and Live Trends has. Look at this, is another Live Trends hanging basket of the red maranta right over here. Now this is for $22.98. Gotta love the red maranta, and look at that. There's just so many beautiful varieties. And then we also have an Epipremnum aureum there. We also have this really nice looking planter. I could do without all of the paint. It is a fun looking one, but look at how cute that is. This is also by Live Trends. This one is just a ZZ plant, a regular ZZ plant. And I will say with ZZ plants, one of the easiest plants to take care of. They are a little bit slower in growth, but not that slow. Some people make it sound like, ZZ plants take forever to grow. It really depends. If you give it a lot more bright indirect light, they're a little bit more vigorous. But you can see what a beautiful little planter that they're in. And then we've got all of these self-watering planters for $12.98. These are some different varieties of this particular Sansevieria. I do like the look of it. They're super easy. I have a Sansevieria starfish that I don't water but maybe once every 2 months, and it's still doing fine. This one is another type of Sansevieria. I believe this might be the Fernwood Sansevieria. Plant Foldies, leave it in the comments if I have the correct plant ID. Again, I don't really call myself a plant expert. I just go by what I have learned over the years. And then you can see over here, this is a braided type of Sansevieria in a self-watering planter. Really like the look of it. And we've got some leather lace as like an accent on the planter. The only critique I have for Live Trends plants is I don't really like the look of the artificial moss. I think they could do without it. I honestly think that they would do better using like orchid bark or just bark in general if they want to put like top soil. But you can see over here they've got some more hanging baskets, and we've got some more plants right over here. That one is an air plant. And what else do we have? This is a silver band maranta, and look at how beautiful that planter is. I love the silver look, and not silver look, but the light blue look on that. And then also just the look of the silver band maranta. What a cool looking maranta right there. I ended up finding one on sale for $2.99 in a small starter planter for $2.99. And that's the thing, Plant Foldies. Sometimes I just buy and acquire plants by getting the smaller plants. I always feel like, there's certain times where I'm like, okay, I want instant gratification. Let me buy a more large, a large developed plant. But then the majority of the times I'll buy smaller plants because I intend to grow them. It does take effort to grow, but if you grow a small plant, it will give you a lot of satisfaction because you grew it from such a small size. It's always interesting to see how plants will grow, and I feel like that's part of plant parenthood, is to actually be able to grow plants to a good size. And then over here we've got another type of Vanda orchid plant. Really like the look of Vanda orchids as well. They have some really nice aerial roots. I find the aerial roots really cool, and notice how like the bloom just comes out of the shoot like this, and then you see all of these beautiful purple flowers. Like these Vanda orchids definitely have a royal vibe about them, that the majestic look of purple. Purple is a color of royalty, or it's considered that, and this is definitely royalty for sure. can see there are several Vanda orchids right over here. This is another variety, and look at how massive the aerial roots are. Gotta love me some Vanda orchids. They remind me of the Philippines because there's quite a bit of Vanda orchids. And that's the thing about big box or plant shopping. I would say Lowe's definitely has such a variety of different types of orchids. They don't just have like the Phalaenopsis orchids. They've got Vanda orchids, they've got Cattleya orchids, they've got Dendrobium orchids, they've got a lot of different types of orchids. Another place to buy orchids too, if I would recommend, is also buying them at Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's is another grocery store that has a lot of cost-effective plant pricing. You can definitely save a lot of money buying at Trader Joe's as well. And you can see over here, this is a kokedama, it's a kokedama hanging basket of some Phalaenopsis orchids. So I'm just going to show you a couple more of these orchids right over here. Over here we've got some Hydra Helix. This one is called the Hedera Helix, or English Ivy. This is the Pamela Ivy. And for my new viewers, I mispronounce Hedera Helix as Hydra Helix, just because for the longest time I was mispronouncing it as Hydra Helix when I first did plant shopping videos. It is a Grow Folds plant foldy type inside joke. I don't know why you all like to count how many times I say Hydra Helix, but that's the thing for this channel. So hopefully it's not too cringy for some people. I actually smile when I say it. I've been told by some of the viewers that some of their kids say it and some people say it. I did design a Hydra Helix shirt, so I may have that in my merch store once I get that all settled. So, you know, stay tuned for that. If you want to rock out a Hydra Helix shirt, please leave that in the comments. That way I can kind of get an idea of like what my inventory is going to look like. And then you can see right over here just a ton of exotic angel starter plants. These are all for $5.98. You can see that this one is another Hydra Helix, although it's not looking too well. This one is on clearance. So a lot of these plants that we're looking at are the Rescue Me, Take Me Home clearance plants. But what I would tell you about clearance plants is clearance plants potentially may harbor plant pests because these plants have been compromised in terms of their health. They're not doing the best. And so sometimes I think that clearance plants are a little bit more of work. So if you're invested in rescuing a plant, just know you'll probably have to repot it. You're going to have to quarantine it. You're going to have to spray it down with like preventative neem oil or some type of insecticidal soap. Now, this is a beautiful Alocasia that I want to add to my collection. I actually have it. I actually bought it. It is an Alocasia regina. I think that's how you pronounce it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I really love the look of that. It almost looks like a stingray as well. I really like the look of that metallic blue shine on the leaves. It is something that I would definitely recommend getting. It's a beautiful plant. Now with Alocasia, you just have to make sure you give it enough humidity, stay on top of the watering, and inspect it for plant pests like spider mites. That Tradescantia is easy to grow. And then what else do we have? We have a Philodendron Brazil, Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil, another classic plant. It's another plant I would recommend growing for anybody that's growing plants as like a beginner. Easy to care for plant, bright indirect light. Water when it's about 50% dry. You can grow it up a totem pole or moss pole. And actually when you grow it up a totem pole or moss pole, it tends to grow a lot larger on its leaves because that's really the natural habitat of those types of plants there. So just keep that in mind. If you want to maximize the beauty of certain plants, you just have to give them the natural settings of what that plant needs, specifically the Epipremnum aureum or Pothos plants. And you can see right here, we've got Ficus elastica, we've got some Monstera deliciosa, just tons of plants. And I am going to be going to another location, so stay tuned for that for this part of the video. But look at how beautiful the plants are here. super full, super organized, and they have plants like this. Like, I need to add this Scindapsus trubii moonlight. This one is for 1984. It is a trending tropicals plant, and I have to commend Costa Farms. I say this in all my videos. Costa Farms, thank you for providing so many exotic plants for the plant lover. You know, without Costa Farms, I would say a lot of these plants would not be easily accessible. It's just really exciting to see that. And then you can see here lots of bird's nest fern. We've got some more Ficus lyrata. We've got a beautiful looking white bird of paradise. I would love to have one of those, but unfortunately I don't have the space for it. That one is for $35.98. That's actually a pretty good price for a white bird of paradise. But like I said, again, plant foldies, it is all about your plant budgeting, your lifestyle. You just have to really add plants that are going to fit your space in your home and just how you live your life. For me, I have a very hectic and busy life, but I do find that plants will give me that therapy, that stress reliever, and then also this community as well. I spend about an hour, making, this voiceover and really just telling you my thoughts. I utilize my plant shopping videos as for you to get to know me more on a personal basis. It's more of like a plant blog. I have been given comments that, you guys will play my videos while you're doing your plant chores or right before work. So if I can provide a relaxing ambiance, I will definitely continue to do it. I really appreciate it. There's just so many, there's not enough times I can say thank you guys for always tuning in to like my live premiere chats and just even my live premieres. The viewership really helps with my plant funding. I've seen some people actually leave super stickers or super thanks, which is basically a monetary way of giving a tip. Thank you guys for that. And if you feel compelled to do so, I am not going to stop you because I need to go raise funds to buy more plants. I am addicted to plant shopping, so we'll see what that looks like. So definitely take a look at this and we'll see what that all looks like right over here. This is another beautiful Vanda orchid. That one has more of like a leopard texture. Look at that. That might be another plant I may consider getting when I come back from the Philippines. I really shouldn't be adding any more plants between now until I fly out to the Philippines next week. But you can see here, we've got another beautiful Epipremnum neon pothos, beautiful plant. This one is for $16.98. I do like the look of this plant as well. And then we're gonna have one more final Hydra helix. Beautiful Hedera helix or English ivy. This is just a common green one. I actually added another English ivy to my surprise. And then you can just see here, I'm going to pan over here and show you all the beautiful bromeliads, orchids, and just how full this Lowe's is. This is off of McDermott Road in Allen, Texas. So if you're curious and you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you can definitely check out this big box store. I will say this is one of the better Lowe's to go plant shopping because they keep their plants organized, healthy, and even the employees are super friendly as well. So plant foldies, what do you guys think so far of all of the Phalaenopsis orchids I've shown you? Have you guys grown Phalaenopsis orchids? Now they do thrive better in neglect, and this Lowe's typically has a lot of them. Now the second location I went to is just up the road on McDermott Road in Allen, Texas as well. This is a Kroger, regular Kroger grocery store. It's not a marketplace, so it's not as big, but again, I've been doing a lot of plant shopping videos as well at grocery stores. Kroger grocery store is another grocery store that I would recommend because, take a look at this. So many different Phalaenopsis orchids. They all are on sale or starting at $19.99. You can see there's different sizes of Phalaenopsis orchids. You've got the smaller varieties like this. You can see how they have so many different colors. I would really like to make like an orchid wall by chance, like maybe finding a spot in my home where all I do is grow orchids, like an orchid wall. So plant folies, let me know what you think of that project. I might do it. There's one specifically, a wall specifically in my location, in my home that I would do it. But then again, I am holding off from doing any like plant hanging or plant, putting plants on the walls or making shelves because I'm thinking about repainting my walls a color first. I think it'd be easier for the contractors to do that. But anyways, I am just going to show you all of these different types of orchids here. You can see there's just so many different varieties. Let me know what colors of orchids you like, what type of orchids you like. If you're going to ask me my favorite type of orchids, that would definitely be the common Phalaenopsis orchid, which is what we're looking at, but also the Vanda orchids, because they get very large blooms. So plant foldies, I'm just gonna pan over here and show you all of the beautiful orchids that Kroger grocery store carries. See that there's just mounds and mounds of orchids right here. Kroger definitely does not ever have a depletion of orchids. They typically get orchids shipped to them almost on a daily basis, or if they don't get it on a daily basis, they get them quite frequently. You know, with grocery stores specifically, I would say most of their plants are really treated like produce. They want to keep their plants fresh and full, and that's the reason why I am always confident about buying plants at Kroger grocery stores, or just grocery stores in general, because if the plant starts to look a little bit unhealthy, they typically will either reduce the plant, which is also great because they don't really let them get too bad, and then they also just get you a good price. But as I pan away over here, you can see these beautiful cascading Matsui orchids. Now these orchids are sourced out from California. That is another plant nursery that has these beautiful cascading orchids. So they basically just kind of have some type of stake that has them cascade right there. Very elegant looking orchids. I love the white blooms on orchids. Now with orchids in general, if you're wanting to grow orchids, number one thing you do not want to do with orchids is to overwater them. And you can even see right over here, this has got another shipment of orchids. And that's the reason why, if you ever go plant shopping, the best time to go, if you get lucky, is when the workers are literally taking the plants out of the boxes. And that can be said about all of these big box stores that we go to. Like, I have been lucky enough to go to like a Walmart and literally see a full pallet of plants getting unboxed. And so I get like first dibs on what plants to do. You've seen some of my videos where I'm literally, I always say I'm bothering the workers, but honestly, a lot of them are actually excited that they're getting the plants out. So I love that for anybody who gets lucky to find these these plants that are just restocked. But plant foliage, you can see right over here, this is another Hydra Helix. This one is sourced out by Mason Farms, and it is another plant that I love to look at, I love to obsess about, I love to kill as well, because I haven't done so well with growing an English ivy indoors. Now, the two English ivy I have are actually growing outdoors. They're doing fine. Like, I don't know what it is about just English ivy indoors and then English ivy outdoors. There's just a whole different ball game. Now that plant that I just picked up is a Dracaena lemon lime, beautiful plant, easy to care for plant. And then this one right here is for $9.99 in a 4.5 inch planter. This one is a Palea aluminum plant. Love that as well. That is a beautiful plant that I definitely enjoy. It is another plant that is one that I can definitely take care of. And then right over here, we've got, let's see, more plants. We've got some more Phalaenopsis orchids. I love white Phalaenopsis orchids. They're very beautiful. They do remind me of like weddings. And then this is an interesting this one is a Peperomia raindrop camouflage. So it's got that green on green variegation. This one is for $14.99. And I'm actually happy that I refrained from buying it when I first found it, because when I first found it, it was for $14.99. But then like after like a week later, I still found the plant, and it did have a little bit more cosmetic damage, but I ended up getting it for like, I think $4.25. Kroger ended up reducing the price, which made me save some some more money with my plants. So plant foldies, again, it is all about finding the plant at the right time. You can even see right here, this is a Ficus pumila variegated. Really like this as well. This is another plant that you will see as an exotic angels hanging basket by Costa Farms. I like the look of this plant. Now with ficus plants, they do need a lot of bright light. So this is not a plant that you can just put in a dark corner of your home. It really needs a lot of light just because it's a ficus plant. And then right over here is a beautiful Hoya carnosa. I'm not 100% sure if this is a Crimson Queen or Crimson Princess. This one is for $13.99. And I will say with Kroger grocery stores, you can find some amazing Hoyas for a really good price. Like I was able to find a Hoya variegated Hoya carrii for $7.99 a little while back, and that was such a good deal. So you can find some really interesting Hoyas. So again, plant foldies, when it comes to plant shopping, you really want to look at areas of that you may not expect. Like you don't expect to go plant shopping at a grocery store. Most people will just buy plants at a grocery store. If you're like me, where I already know you can get some good plant pricing. So that's one thing I discovered, because for the most part, when I think of Kroger groceries, I think about getting my groceries, not plants. But again, you will find plants like this right over here. Like this is so amazing. Look at these philodendrons quamiferums. Now these ones are not on sale quite yet. Now these I believe are for like $19.99 or something of that nature. These are beautiful philodendron. I love the fuzzy petioles, and there's just a surplus of philodendrons quamiferum. I recently got a large philodendrons quamiferum. Thank you to Green Acres Nursery in Melissa, Texas. I did a couple of plant shopping videos, and they gave me a kind gift for a gift card, which I used to buy a philodendrons quamiferum on a totem pole, and it just gets really large. So with this particular philodendron, it does want to climb up a pole. If you plant like 3 or 4 on a moss pole, you'll get a nice full plant. This is an easy to care for plant. All you need to do, just like most philodendron, is bright indirect light, water when the plant is about 50% dry. I would say that it does like a little bit more water, and for the most part, this is an easy plant to propagate as well. You do need to cut under a node. You can water propagate it or use sphagnum moss. I typically just like to water propagate the plant, so we'll see what that all looks like right there. So definitely check that out, and then you can see so many philodendrons quamiferums available. I am going to hold off from buying a philodendrons quamiferum. I mean, I already have like 2, but I may end up getting another one depending on whether they clearance those out, because I don't think a lot of people are going to end up buying it for $19.99. And then you can see here, super healthy anthuriums. These I believe are for $14.99 or $13.99. I may end up just buying one of these just because it's so healthy looking. I love just that red one, and I might end up just getting the pink one as well. These particular ones are super healthy looking. That's the thing about Kroger grocery stores. I have to recommend them because they have such fresh and healthy looking plants. So plant foldies, let me know in the comments what you think so far about these anthuriums. I'm currently growing my anthuriums in water, but I may end up just growing them in straight soil or keeping them in their substrate, because I find that they are easy to take care of as well. They're not as fussy of a plant. But you can see here, so many beautiful plants at Kroger groceries. I would recommend it. And you can see, look at that beautiful pink over there. I just love that pink plant. Pink flowers, they always make me excited. They make me happy. I love pink planters. I like pink, I guess. I would say that pink is one of my favorite colors, especially on plants. So plant foldies, let me know what you think in the comments. But as you can see here, this is a nice place to go plant shopping. Night plant shopping is great. You'll save some money because there's not a lot of people that you can fight for these plants. And then you can also take your time and really spend the time to admire the plants, look at the plant pricing, and just see what you want. So what do you guys think, plant foldies? I'm just gonna go pan over here just one last time to show you what other plants that they have available. I mean, you can just see they've got a sea of orchids, Phalaenopsis orchids. And I will say that, Kroger groceries, they typically do well with the amount of space that they have for plants. They have so many plants, but in such a small, tight space. But these are plants that have really good interest. Like right over here, you can see there's a Hydra helix, that English ivy. It's looking super healthy and full. Now, if you bring it indoors, I don't know so much because I have killed about 13 English ivy. So it is embarrassing, but it is a plant that I will eventually learn how to take care of. Plant foldies, if you like tonight's installment of the video, please hit the like button. Please hit the like button if you made it this far. I really appreciate it. And as always, please make sure you subscribe to my channel with the notification bell on. This is Richie at Growfolds. I will see you on the next one tomorrow. Bye.